Hello NBA fans, every day we have news about the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan and I'm counting on you to subscribe to the channel and leave your. The Lakers will be updating their roster, and trading players is a good option to address the team's needs. Dalton Neich has good value in the league and will likely be traded. And another trade between the Los Angeles Lakers and Dallas Mavericks will cause a stir in the NBA. The Los Angeles Lakers failed to make the necessary upgrades to the roster in yet another offseason. Entering the summer with massive holes in the front court, the Lakers fell short of bolstering their rotation in a way for the fans to feel good about their championship odds next season. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith and replacing him only with Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton is not enough to move a team that lost in the first round to title contention in the loaded Western Conference. That is why GM Rob Pelinka has to continue to be active on the trade market. More size and athleticism in the frontcourt are still needed, and the Lakers would be wise to turn to a familiar trade partner to solve this issue. The Dallas Mavericks are loaded with talent in the frontcourt, especially with the addition of Cooper Flagg. The number 1 overall pick entering the rotation that already had Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and PJ Washington creates a crowded frontcourt group. This makes Washington potentially acquirable for the Lakers with a strong trade package. Los Angeles Lakers receive PJ Washington. Dallas Mavericks receive Gabe Vincent, Dalton Knecht, 2031 unprotected first-round pick, 2030 first-round pick swap. That package could include an unprotected first-round pick and a future pick swap, alongside Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht to match salaries. While this may seem like a lot of draft capital to give up for Washington, it's important to note that Knecht and Vincent may have negative trade value right now. The Mavericks could use Vincent during Kyrie Irving's absence, and Knecht could provide them with some shooting, but the two players are hardly desirable on the trade market. Washington, on the other hand, gives the Lakers exactly what they are looking for. He can guard smaller players if needed, but has the ability to play small ball 5. He can provide spacing with his solid outside shooting, and can attack the basket when the defender closes out on him. He profiles as a better Rui Hachimura on both ends of the floor for the Lakers. One downside of the deal for the Lakers is that they would have to give Washington a contract extension, as he is on an expiring deal that pays him $14.1 million for the 2025-26 season. If Washington gives them what he gave Dallas over the last 1.5 seasons, however, the Lakers should be thrilled to give a lucrative, long-term deal for Luka Doncic's former teammate. LeBron James rumors finally put to rest if latest rumblings are true. The Los Angeles Lakers superstar is probably staying put, in spite of the recent drama. The biggest story of the NBA offseason that has caught everyone's interest of late has been LeBron James' future with the Los Angeles Lakers. Dan Woik and Joe Vardon of The Athletic were not bought into the idea that James would be switching teams anytime soon. The pair wrote, amid the constant speculation recently about his future, both the Lakers and people close to the NBA's all-time leading scorer expect that he will be with the organization for training camp once the season begins this fall, league sources told The Athletic. Woik and Vardon added that there has been no indication of any trade request or buyout in the works either. Those scenarios have never been discussed amid all the buzz surrounding James and the Lakers. The two writers went on to explain the impracticalities surrounding some of the top destinations that LeBron has been linked to. For one reason or another, there was a strong disbelief in the Lakers' interest regarding a trade with rumored spots like New York, Golden State, or Cleveland. James staying put still works out well for all parties. ESPN and The Athletic clearly have very different outlooks on the situation in Los Angeles. The former had been fanning the flames of disgruntlement when Brian Windhorst and Ramona Shelburne teamed up for an inside look. The latter is quickly bringing out the firetruck. Granted, even other personnel at ESPN like Dave McMenamin offered reason to take pause on the narratives building around James and the Lakers. That is where the overall trend appears to be going with the situation. It would be wise to follow that direction at this point. With LeBron James at the Lakers game tonight, I asked him if he would like to speak to me about his future with the franchise. "I ain't got nothing to talk about," he said. My report for ESPN from Las Vegas. If the root of this big divide was whether the Lakers are good enough to be a contender in 2025-26, most can find comfort in the fact that things are not so desperate in that regard. Rob Pelinka certainly has not built the perfect roster, but it is far from hopeless. Having two top 10 players in the NBA, with James and Luka Doncic, is a better starting point than most other teams have to work with. That duo alone should offer every opportunity to compete. Can the pieces around them be improved? Undoubtedly, the answer is yes. However, the weight of those moves does not require a massive, ground-shaking trade. A key free agency addition here, a well-fitting trade there, and suddenly the Lakers should be able to close the gap on the best teams in the Western Conference. For all parties involved, continuing this partnership still makes a ton of sense if the initial rumors of disconnect have been massively overplayed. Pushing for a championship in 2025-26 should be the goal for everyone moving forward. Improving point of attack defense remains priority. The Los Angeles Lakers came into this offseason with a couple of priorities in improving the roster. Chief among them was finding a big man, and the team accomplished that goal by signing DeAndre Ayton in free agency. But another issue that Rob Pelinka spoke about earlier in the offseason was improving the team's perimeter defense. The only player last season that could be viewed as a true perimeter stopper was Jared Vanderbilt, but injuries and offensive struggles can sometimes limit the impact he can make. Even still, the best teams have multiple players capable of defending the perimeter, and the Lakers still lack those types of players. Now, with free agency beginning to wind down, improving their point of attack defense remains a priority for the Lakers, according to Dan Woik and Joe Vardon of The Athletic. The Lakers have additional roster work to do. The team can create a roster spot by waiving guard Shake Milton, and team sources have said that improving the team's point of attack defense is a priority. In fairness, the Lakers have made a couple of moves to help address that this summer by drafting Adou Thiero with the 36th overall pick. He projects as a very good perimeter defender. They also signed Jake LaRavia, who has made it very clear that the defensive side of the ball is where he plans on making his mark with the purple and gold. But the team apparently feels they haven't done enough to address that issue just yet, so it will be interesting to see who the team could potentially target in free agency. One obvious name that the Lakers have been linked to since the start of free agency is DeAnthony Melton, who fits that mold of a defense-first guard perfectly, but things have been quiet on that front for some time now. Regardless, the Lakers remain a team with some moves to make this offseason, and all eyes will continue to be on Pelinka to see what he pulls off. Potential Lakers target Bradley Beal signs with Clippers after buyout from Suns. One player the Lakers seemingly had some interest in was guard Bradley Beal. His time with the Phoenix Suns was clearly at its end, and a buyout was on the way, and now it has become official. However, it is not the Lakers he will be joining, but instead, Beal has agreed to a 2-year, $11 million deal to join the Los Angeles Clippers. Lakers' rumored next move becomes crystal clear. Shake Milton's time with the Los Angeles Lakers is nearly at its end. The open roster spot should be quickly filled thereafter. Shake Milton's non-guaranteed salary for 2025-26 is quickly approaching its decision date on July 20th. The Los Angeles Lakers have reportedly already made their choice in what to do with that roster spot after potentially cutting ties with the veteran guard. The Athletic wrote, "The Lakers have additional roster work to do. The team can create a roster spot by waiving guard Shake Milton, and team sources have said that improving the team's point of attack defense is a priority." The decision to part ways with Milton would be unsurprising. As soon as the Lakers brought back Jackson Hayes, roster spots for 2025-26 were filling up quickly. The Lakers guard stood out like a natural candidate to get outright waived. Lacking a true point of attack defender also showed itself as a natural area for improvement with this roster. If things are quiet on the trade front for the Lakers, moving away from Milton and grabbing one of the free agents still available should be an easy, and necessary, decision for Rob Pelinka. Lakers' perimeter defense remains a point of concern. Looking at the projected starting lineup of Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton will quickly highlight the need for a player who can come in and have a defensive game plan centered around them matching up with the prominent 1 through 3 on an opposing team. The Lakers lack that currently. Many fans hoped the answer to that problem could be Andrew Wiggins. However, the rumored asking price set by the Miami Heat was way too large of a demand for the Lakers to meet. If the Lakers plan on heading into 2025-26 with the starting lineup listed above, they need a player who can immediately come off their bench and have defense as their primary focus. Those specialists do not grow on trees. However, there are some still available who can address that need. The Jackson Hayes signing brings the Lakers to 15 official roster players. Luka Vincent Bronny, AR/DK/Goodwin Milton, Rui/Laravia/Fierro, LeBron/Vondo, Ayton Hayes Kleber. Milton's $3 million contract is non-guaranteed. The Lakers have until July 20 to decide on his deal. DeAnthony Melton sticks out as the most obvious candidate to come in and take the open roster spot that the Lakers are trying to create. However, the concern would be whether the free agent has made plans to sign elsewhere at this point. If not Melton, Josh Okogie might be of interest after being waived by the Charlotte Hornets the other day. Okogie does not bring the same kind of offensive upside to go with his defense, but playing beside Doncic would hopefully make life a lot easier for him on that end. Holding out for a buyout of Marcus Smart from the Washington Wizards could prove worth the gamble. Smart is not at the caliber of Defensive Player of the Year levels anymore. However, the two-way guard remains effective enough to take a shot on. The choice to move on from Milton should be a formality for a Lakers team trying to piece together the last key few moves to contending in the Western Conference. Making the most of the flexibility that will come to them is pivotal. The Los Angeles Lakers lose out on potentially adding guard Bradley Beal to the roster after being bought out by the Phoenix Suns. Beal will sign with the Los Angeles Clippers. He will sign a 2-year deal worth $11 million. The three-time All-Star was linked to the Lakers after reports had suggested that the Suns were set to buy him out. Now, Beal heads across town where he will join the likes of Kawhi Leonard, James Harden and Ivica Zubac, to name a few. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, Beal became excited about the route to part ways after meeting with multiple teams that were interested in him. The 32-year-old All-Star will join his third team of his career and his second in the Western Conference. Beal began his career with the Washington Wizards after being drafted third overall in the 2012 NBA Draft. He spent his first 11 seasons of his career in the nation's capital before he was shipped to Phoenix in the summer of 2023. After 2 disappointing and underwhelming seasons in the Valley of the Sun, he will now head to Tinseltown to do his part to get the Clippers over the top. The Lakers didn't necessarily need a player like Beal on their team. Instead, they need a 3-and-D type of player who could contribute on both ends of the court. Although Beal is a fantastic player, he is not the type of player the Lakers need to get over the top. In his career, Beal averages 21.5 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 4.3 assists and 1.1 steals per game in 801 games and 34.4 minutes of action. Mavericks not interested in trading for LeBron James. The past couple of weeks have been filled with tons of speculation about the future of LeBron James with the Los Angeles Lakers. Ever since the statement made by agent Rich Paul following James picking up his player option for the 2025-26 season, many have wondered whether a trade could be on the table. Some logical teams that could make sense included the Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, and Dallas Mavericks. The latter of those teams has been a popular choice as it would allow for LeBron to reunite with 2 of his favorite teammates ever in Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. And of course, the Lakers do have a bit of history in major blockbuster deals with the Mavericks as well. And while a James trade in general remains unlikely, one to the Mavericks is even less likely as Dan Woik and Joe Vardon of The Athletic are reporting that they have no interest in dealing for the Lakers superstar due to the number of pieces they would have to trade in order to match salaries. One team linked to James, the Dallas Mavericks, does not have interest in gutting its roster to match James' salary in a trade, a team source told The Athletic. LeBron is set to make $52.6 million this season after picking up that player option, and since Davis and Irving wouldn't be in such a deal, the Mavericks would have to send at least 4 players to the Lakers to make the money work. A combination of Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington would still be around $7 million short, which would then force the inclusion of former Lakers guard Max Christie, or a pairing of players such as Dwight Powell and Olivier Maxence-Prosper. Talking about the Lakers potentially trading James may be a fun exercise in theory, but the realities of making one work are far more difficult with his age, salary, and no trade clause allowing him to basically choose where he wants to go if it were to get to that point. But with LeBron still on an expiring contract with no options for the first time in his career, these rumors will likely continue on. LeBron James expected to be with Lakers at start of training camp. With all that said, and despite the ongoing rumors, the expectation remains for LeBron James to be with the Lakers when training camp rolls around. It would be his 8th season with the franchise, his longest consecutive stint with any team in his storied career.